Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Freddy from Let's Ultra. In today's video I want to talk to you guys about my first marathon which I did last year. The whole progress, the way it went, why did I even start with the running, and I just wanted to share with you my personal experience from beginning to end and how the whole marathon went. So over the past few years, I always kind of did set myself certain challenges and goals. Some developed into habits, some not. And since last year I turned 30, I was more or less settled job-wise and family-wise and certain other things. I just thought of myself of like a bigger challenge that would acquire a bit more of me than usual, and also one that is a bit more long-term. So I told myself that by the age of 35, I would have liked to complete a whole Ultraman at least once. That would be whooping 10 kilometer swim, followed by a 421 kilometer bike ride. And then on day 3, it's a 3-day progress or a 3-day run basically. On the last day, you would complete a double marathon, so 84 kilometers. That would be a total distance then overall 515 kilometers completed in 3 days or 320 miles. My only problem at that time was that I haven't been properly running in about 5 years, just occasionally once in a while a run there, a run here. All I did at that time was a bit of weightlifting, mainly calisthenics, ring workouts. So I kind of had to start the progress. So the only problem I was facing at that time to even start training for an Ironman or an Ultraman whatsoever was that I completely lacked the knowledge of swimming. I had no clue about swimming, freestyle swimming, and I also didn't even own a bike at that time. But I knew how to run, and so I finally started running again. And I actually had my first run after a long time then on March 11 last year with a whooping 3 kilometers. 4 kilometers actually. It took me 34 minutes and it was a pace of 8 minutes 30 seconds per kilometer, so really bad, but just to build some aerobic base. To really set the goal final, I signed up for a marathon then finally last year in April, which would be the Share Marathon in Seville, and it would take place in the end of September, so that I had at least half a year in order to prepare properly and build some form. I ended up having a few problems, especially after in the first 3 or 4 runs already increased volume way too quick. I tried to run like a 12 kilometers, which worked fine, but I ended up having Achilles tendonitis. Nevertheless, I recovered from that, stuck with it, and then from May on, really, I ran 4 times a week, consistency over the next 5 months till the marathon would be taking place. So by September of last year, my fiance, our newborn child, which was then 5 months years old, and we went down to Spain in order to spend a couple of weeks in Spain at the south coast, where also the event would take place. But as you're probably all aware of, due to Corona, the marathon got cancelled. So we kind of had to find a new solution, because I put in all this training and I did not want to run. So we just decided on, okay, as soon as we're back from Spain, we're just going to do it self-organized. So even though we were on vacation or whatsoever, I tried to put in 40 to 50 kilometers weeks of running, of course. And the good thing was I also had an opportunity to really finally started swimming. So I went out for swims 3 times a week in the Mediterranean Sea, and it was just beautiful. So we came back shortly before the vacation started. We flew down. I also organized myself a used triathlon bike, and the next part of the progress began. So one thing that really helped me also later in the progress was that shortly before we went to Spain, I did searched online for some help and find myself a coach. Like I said, I had no experience whatsoever swimming or biking, and that really made a big change then later on in the oncoming months. Nevertheless, on October 6th then I did finally run my first marathon ever, and I can just say it was all self-organized. It was not the time I expected it to be. I was hoping for a better time. And nevertheless, since it was all self-organized, the route was chosen myself, and the only support crew I had was my girlfriend or my fiance bathing with the baby at the half marathon mark with the bottle in her hand waving for me. So the whole thing was self-organized. I ran the entire route all by myself, except for, like I mentioned, at the marathon mark where my fiance was waiting for me. And it was super, super fun. I really enjoyed it up to exactly that point. Reason being, I don't know what I was thinking, but I somehow managed to lay the route this way that I had a very long uphill stretch of about 2 kilometers at kilometer mark 17, 18, followed by a long downhill. And that downhill really like hurt my quads a lot. And after about then the half marathon mark, I really felt my quads being in pain and also starting to have some cramps. And that's when it also kind of became a real, like more of a mental game. Nevertheless, I continued running, pain increased, of course, but I guess that's what it is all about. So by kilometer 28 or 29, I realized that wow, if I just keep on pushing now, it shouldn't be a problem at all, because then I can even reach below 4 hours, no problem. Unfortunately, someone also did another extremely stupid landmark of crossing a bridge. And that bridge, in order to cross that, you had to run upstairs, cross the bridge, and run downstairs. I would be lying if I would say that I ran them up. It was more like humbling up there and kind of a painful agony going back down. And from there on, it kind of, went down. I wasn't able to push anymore that hard. I tried a few times, and then at kilometer mark 38, I was really for the first time thinking like, why am I even doing this? Like, are you stupid or something? Like, why are you not stopping right now? No one would judge you. It doesn't matter. Even you could stop for a second, just continue running. But that wouldn't be me. So I just pushed and pushed and pushed, and then I finally finished the marathon without anyone waiting for me, because we kind of misplaced my ending and where my fiance was supposed to be waiting. So I just finished alone, and 4 hours, 11 minutes. Not what I hoped for, but it was my first one. I did it all alone, and I was happy with the time. And that was my first marathon. So even though the 4 hours and 11 minutes was not what I was really hoping for or anticipated, nevertheless, there's something I didn't mention yet, and that's just the day prior, I swam for the first time ever in my life 3.8 kilometers nonstop. And also, following the marathon, over the next 4 days, I would have to bike 180 kilometers, which at that time I had less than 200 kilometers of experience on a bike. Why did I do that? Well, there's this VC Ironman event which gave you a week time in order to finish the standard triathlon Ironman distance over the course of the week. So basically including a 3.8 kilometer run, a 180 kilometer bike ride, and a marathon. And that's why we split everything up and put the marathon basically in the middle, followed then by a few rides over the course of 4 days. So the day after my marathon, I finished a 60 kilometer bike ride, followed by another 40 kilometer bike rides the next days, and then heading off to work. So that's the experience I have from the first marathon that I ever did. It's definitely not the way I thought it would go. By the beginning of the year, when we signed up for the marathon, the Share Marathon, I was thinking that that's what I would be doing. Ended up doing a whole Ironman in 1 week, which made me super proud. I'm also very happy that I finished the marathon. It was tougher than I expected it to be. Oh, that's my daughter again. It's tougher than that's basically the sounds that I made during the last minutes of the run. It was tougher than I expected it to be. It physically really hurt, but I made it. And beginning in March, like I said, as a quite creepy, or not creepy, but as a crappy runner. I started in March as a quite crappy runner. Just in the beginning, like I said, with a pace of 8:30. At the end, I was able to finish a marathon with an average pace of under 6 minutes. And it took time. It took really the consistency of going out there every week for half a year. It was very painful at the end, but I'm super happy and proud that I did it, running it all alone. And I can just say all it took was really consistency that made me become the better runner, and then finally finish my first marathon with 30. So the marathon marks one of the first events then into that chain, into this accomplishment of going into the Ultraman. which I will have to do in only 4 years left now. But that was the first mark, the first step to be done. And now following this year is going to be the half Ironman event in Krakow, which I already mentioned. And from there on, it's just gonna get better and continue. And I really felt how my body even developed better and more, how I got faster over the past few months since the marathon happened, and also became a better biker since then. Well, not a swimmer because unfortunately all the pools are closed, but it was this first specific step which I took, and from now on it's just gonna get towards the event. So if you found that video interesting, or if you would like to leave a comment, please let me know if you already finished a marathon or a half marathon or a 10K, or are you planning on doing one? And also, if you like the channel, if you want to be always informed about the news videos coming uploaded, then please subscribe. I would appreciate it a lot. And I really hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon with the next video, which is then going to be about how my running basically started, and it's going to be a bit more technically talking about what I did, like my training, my zone training, and yeah, stay tuned for that one, and I really hope you enjoyed this video.